All right, let's get at it, folks. Let's tie this thing. So we're going to start with Danville's 140 denier. It's what I like to use for it. This color is called orange. Somewhere around size 14, I'll go down to the 70 denier from the 140, but that's kind of my demarcation line. So the first thing I'm going to do, get the thread started, then I'm going to go back to the bead. Just going to do a good 15 or 20 turns there. Kind of didn't quite get enough. When you do that right, you get a little bit of a ball and that bead won't come back too far on you. Just makes it a little bit easier the rest of the way as you're tying. Then I get to the hook point and I stop. Take a Fox Squirrel. I've already trimmed the belly for the Whitlock's Fox Squirrel, but we're going to take a little bit of the back here, which you guys can see. Just trim off a little tuft. That's way more than I need. Pull out the really long guard hairs to start with. Don't want a terribly thick tail. Nice. That's about right. Then I measure it. I want it to be the hook shank. 1 or 2 pinch wraps there to get it started. Then I take a look at it. That's looking pretty good. Wrap all that stuff down. Then I come in, put a little dubbing loop in there, trim the one side, put that counter wrapping thread on the back side. I lost my Flashaboo. So I take a single piece of orange Flashaboo. Then I tie that on the near side towards me. Then I'm right at the barb. Come back to the front a little bit. Lay down a little Dave's Flexman all over all those wraps. Try to get some inside that hollowness of the bead. Now I save all of this stuff here for when I have dubbing. This is all my unblended stuff. I blend my own. And when this gets down too low, I'll take all of this stuff and plus some more fresh stuff and make another batch of dubbing. But start with really small amount. A really small amount. And that's all the more I'm putting on there, folks. It's not a lot. Try and dub about 2 inches is all to start with. And get it to where there's about a 1/4 of an inch gap. I want my first wrap of dubbing right at the hook point. So I can wrap backwards a little bit, get to the hook, to the bend, and now I know I'm at the tail because I'm moving the tail. So I'm good. Then I can come forward, and what that allows me to do is get a little bit more shape, a little bit more of a carrot shape to it. You know, a size 12 nymph isn't going to be terribly skinny. You know, size 18s will be, and I do tie this that small, but you know, I want a little bit more robust profile on this one. That's looking pretty good. All right, so then we're going to take our Flashaboo. We're going to counter wrap that. Kind of get, I try to go for, 4 times on this size nymph. On a size 14, I try to go for 3. There. Went over it forwards 3 times, come back over it backwards twice. That really locks it down. And then this counter wrap, I can just kind of bring over, and I try to do it in just 2 or 3 turns all the way forward. It's just to reinforce. I'm not really looking for that color too much. But I do tie it in and then wrap back over it as well. Now I'm going to put a small dubbing loop in. Throw my dubbing tool in there. I'm going to just dub the one side of this real quick. Not a lot either, maybe an inch, inch and a quarter. And the next thing I'm going to do is take some of my dubbing, just kind of do a finger stack to it here. Just pulling it, trying to align as many of the fibers as I can. If you look, more of them are going this way now than across. So then I can just take a little bunch, pull it out, put it right in there. And notice I left a good, maybe a ½ inch or a little less. I'm gonna throw a little more in there. That's a little too much, or too much space. There we go. Give that a little bit of a spin. In this part right here, you can see it's starting to stick with each other. So you can come in and pick it out like that if you want. The other thing you should do is just run your bodkin over it. That kind of gets it to stand up on end as well, stand 90 degrees. Perfect. I'm going to put just a quick little drop of Flexament there again. I'm going to pull all this stuff back as I wrap. Don't need all of that. Pull all of that back. A couple of good tight turns. I'm going to do a 2 or 3 turn whip finish, followed by a 4 turn whip finish. And I know that 4 turn is going to require my bodkin to get it to go out, or get it to slide down smoothly. Check and make sure that the threads, if it's on the outside of the bead, see if you can get your fingernail to push that and get it inside. I'm not looking for there to be a thread collar on this one. I kind of like it to be sunk into the bead, behind the bead there. Then the next thing I can do is just come in and just drop a head cement or a flex cement on the top and drop on the bottom. It's going to soak down in, bond with what's already there. Then you can come in with your bodkin, pick out if you need to, if that's what you like, or you guys know I like my brush. I kind of brush forward. It's going to get any of the loose stuff, then brush it back. It gives me a nice little haloed foxtail nymph. I really like it. All right, folks, so we're gonna tie a Fox Squirrel Nymph here that I kind of do as a modified soft tackle. Instead of putting a soft tackle feather, I just put a small dubbing loop with some fox fur or Fox Squirrel fur in there. Gives me the same effect, same action. Gives you that emerging caddis, emerging mayfly look. I just really like it. It's worked really well for me. This is a size 12. You can see it's a nice spiky body, dubbing. Don't want a terribly thick tail there. Keeps it from sinking, actually. A thicker tail doesn't sink as quickly, and it also doesn't have as much action. Gets a little bit more swimming action because it's a nice soft tail.